Got it.
Hey, we're on the air.
Yeah, that's right. We are on the air. What do you know, everybody? Hello, welcome. Welcome to the Mastermind RoundTable 77th meeting right now. I've noticed that there's been a lot of endorsements for a lot of different shows other than this one. And also, what can I say? Much more people attending. But we got a mighty and powerful group. And just remember, you can come join us every Wednesday at 4 o'clock Las Vegas time. That's 7 o'clock on the East Coast time. And I believe that it is 6 o'clock in Nashville. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
There you go, 6 o'clock in Nashville. So, welcome everybody. This is a great show where you get to talk about what's going on in the world and how it affects us in our concert business and installs and whatever have you that we do. So, welcome everybody, and thanks for coming. So, before we start, what I want to talk about, well, actually, we were talking about it, so let's just talk about it right now. And basically, Polestar said that well, it's not just Polestar, everybody. The Travis Scott Astroworld attendees, 8 victims lost their lives, and I'm really sorry about that. It's horrible when anybody even gets injured, but when you have death, it's even worse. But Polestar is reporting that the event range in age was from 14 to 27 of people who died, and that's a horrible, horrible, horrible thing.
Well, on top of that, there's a
20,
9-year-old who's in an induced coma. So,
25 attendees were taken to hospitals, and over 300 people were treated during the festival on the on-site field hospital. Live Nation and their magnanimous, offered to refund everybody's money, but already there's over a dozen lawsuits filed. And here's, there's a bunch of things. Tina was doing some research on Inside Edition. As local authorities in Houston continue their investigation, basically it seems that at one particular point when they knew this was happening, the sheriff or the law enforcement, whoever was running, let the show continue because of the fact that they were afraid of a riot. And I just read something that in one of the papers, and I think I could find it right now as we're talking about it, but Travis Scott went to a party after the show. So I don't even think, according to this article, and again, you don't know what's true or not, so just remember, do your own research. But I believe that he went to an after show party, not even realizing what kind of damage had taken place during his concert. So, who's got something they want to say about that? Anybody?
well,
Yeah, some lady jumped up on the control thing, where the camera guy was, and she was yelling and waving and saying, "Stop the show." And nobody had a clue. The show just went on.
I was reading a whole thread about that on BobNet, and they were talking about how, first of all, where was security to keep her off the tower? That was number one. And number two was, you're a camera operator and you got a crazy fan next to you. You got your double muff headset on, and you're listening to the director and you're running the show. You're going to ignore that person because that person's a pain in the ass and they're in the way. So I watched this entire thread on BobNet that was like 90 entries, and there were people cursing the camera operator out, and there were people defending the camera operator. In my opinion, the guy did what we would normally do, is that hope security will take care of this crazy person and deal with whatever the issue is because you're busy doing your job.
That's not the way they spun it on the national news, though.
Of
So
course not.
99% of the people, David, are not looking at it that way. They're looking at it from the point of view of the mainstream media.
Right. And of course, they went out and they used to torch and burn villages when they thought there were witches in it. It doesn't mean the majority is right. In this case, think about it. The guy's got we all work in the business. Guy's got a double muff headset on, listening to loud music with a director over it, and then somebody comes up behind him screaming that he can't really hear, and where's security? That's what he was thinking. Where's security to take care of this, no matter what it is? So maybe everybody else thinks the guy was wrong, but I don't.
Yeah,
I
there's
know
an
what it's like.
interesting article. There's an interesting article on NBC News, and I just posted that in the chat as well. And that basically is talking about this kind of why crowd surges like this one can be escalate really quickly. And and with the barricades that they have now, there's no way for those barricades to move. It's protecting the stage, because if they do rush the stage like that, it could tip the stage over if it's a mobile stage. And in this situation, it wasn't a permanent fixed stage, so it was, scaffolding. It could have easily been tipped over if they didn't have the kind of barricades they have. But the way the barricades are designed these days, it's impossible, because you're using the weight in the front, because people are stepping on that grate in front, and then they're stepping on the grate in behind, so there's no way that they can move it. There's just no way. And so, yeah, it's easy to get crushed.
Well, when you look at the overhead shots, you can see there were aisles that had the bicycle racks, so that the people rushing the stage only had, maybe 40 people behind them, not 1,000 people behind them. Not 40, I mean 40 rows of people behind them, maybe, or 30 rows of people behind them. And then there was a barricade. So it wasn't like the entire crowd was moving forward unless they knocked those barricades down and went over them. That's the part we don't know. But the overhead shot that I saw showed just like Times Square in New York. There was sections of how they do this. So we need more information.
Yeah, Tina had some interesting information that she was talking to me about how that even from the very beginning, they didn't control the crowd. Somehow, Tina, what were you telling me about how they were letting people in and they were just running out of their seats? And
No, before they even let anybody in at 2:00, that's when the mayhem began, where hundreds rushed security gates. And on the opposite side, hundreds rushed the VIP gates on that side, just walking over everybody and just going through security. Security couldn't handle them. They couldn't do nothing, which they said possibly today they've mentioned on the news that could have caused people who didn't have tickets to rush in there, which caused the overage of the amount of people that were supposed to be inside there.
Yeah.
But if that happened at 2:00, my thought was, well, they should have stopped the show. They should, and one of the newscasters had said that when she was there filming, she had stated that she just had a bad feeling it was just going to go bad from then on because they allowed that to happen.
I saw that video that somebody took of them rushing the VIP gates.
Yes.
And that's hundreds and hundreds of people came in, and finally the cops on horseback were able to stop it. But they just, there was nobody there. It was VIP. 4 people were sitting there looking at your names on lists. So they just pushed right through.
well, let me ask you something. Wasn't this indoors? And this was an indoor show, wasn't it?
No, it was outdoors.
Oh, it was an outdoor show.
You can't have 5,000 people indoors. It's only outdoors.
Okay. So that makes it a whole different. I thought it was indoor for, Astro World. It sounded like to me it was indoor. I wasn't familiar with the facility.
No.
Wow. It's a horrible thing. It's just a horrible thing, and I know it will affect us as an industry, just because it will. I mean, once they, the Event Safety Commission is already involved in it as well, and they're going to be doing reports. So there's going to be a lot of information coming out of that, but definitely we're going to see. And this guy is known for getting the audiences crazy and making noise, and just like every artist wants to do that. Get on your feet, let's dance, let's do this.
More than that. He said, rush the barricades, screw security, rush the stage. And he got arrested for it twice for saying that. Misdemeanors. But keep in mind, this is Live Nation. This is like the big guns. They're the ones who are going to lose a fortune on this with lawsuits. So they're going to be the ones who are really laying down the law on what's going to happen in the future. And someone like him, who's known to instigate crowd insurrections, he's finished. He'll never work again from any one of these big promoters.
Yeah, I was thinking about that myself. That his jeopardy, if he actually did that, the jeopardy that he faces is the loss of his money, the loss of his career, and possible jail time. If it gets to the point where they say that he incited that.
He didn't do that this time. They did that on their own, but he's done it before and been arrested for it. So he has a track record, and his fans are his fans. They know how he feels about rushing the stage. So even if he doesn't say anything to them, it's still predetermined that's how they're going to act.
Yes, he did that at one of his performances on an award show as well. I think it was the BET Awards 2 years ago as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went.
And I guarantee you,
to,
the lawyers are going to bring that up.
I went to a rock concert one time where somebody got killed, and it was Altamont, the Rolling Stones, and I was sitting in about the 10th row from the stage, so I saw the whole thing, and guess who was sitting next to me? Timothy Leary.
Does he remember sitting?
Stoned out
was
of
he
his
sitting
mind.
or was he floating next to you?
He was floating next to me, about 5 feet higher than me. And I tell you what, I saw the whole thing go down. You know, the Hell's Angels. Somebody was getting out of hand, and they attacked the guy with pool cues. You know, these pool sticks he played pool with. They were hitting him with that, and they bludgeoned him. And Mick Jagger's going crazy, saying, "Hey, cool it, guys!" You know, and they're all freaking out. Everybody's freaking out, man. That concert was out of control.
Yeah, well, they've done movies on that.
Didn't the Grateful Dead not even play because they thought it was too insane to try and deal with that?
Yeah,
crowd?
they backed out. The Dead backed out. They were getting all these rock stars were getting helicoptered out of there.
Really, I didn't even realize the Dead were ever scheduled to play. I thought it was a Rolling Stones concert.
Yeah, they were there.
No, there were other bands.
Well, I've learned a lot today. I have to tell you.
So, question for the group: when Live Nation gets sued or whatever, or any of these artists get sued, it's their insurance that's going to pay. It's not them personally, is it?
Yeah, if they were.
Well,
covered.
the way insurance works is you have so much coverage, and if it goes beyond the coverage, then you are the liable one. Plus, once insurance happens, if they find out that you have violated any of the policy of the insurance, they will do everything in their power to make sure that you don't get paid. So if they violated their insurance policy in any way, shape, or form, I guarantee you there will be lawsuits between the promoter and the insurance company as well. But
so like Live
remains to be
Nation
seen.
probably has a $100 million policy or something like that for an event like that, right? So Live Nation's on the line for making sure they did things correctly. It sounds to me like whoever from Live Nation was organizing that particular event did not know what they were doing. What do you think?
Well, it's very possible because look what happened. You know, evidently, you know, it's one of those things that things can go south really quick. If they've made one mistake and then the second mistake happens and a third mistake happens, and next thing you know, it's just, you know, I once saw a film when I was a kid, you know, and they would roll the projector into the room, and then they would show a movie, and it was called The Final Fatal Factor, and it was about driving. And I'll never forget this as well. And then they you know, the first scene is they show a guy getting in the car and he forgets to put on his seatbelt. And then the next thing is that he's playing with the radio. And then the next thing is he's looking out the window. And the next thing is, in those days they were smoking, so he's lighting up a cigarette. And then, you know, everything was going on. And then finally one more thing happened, boom, and that was the final fatal factor where he gets into the accident. So in this case, it probably was the same thing. It was just probably a myriad of mistakes that were taking place, and that nobody rectified any of those mistakes, and then now people paid with their lives. And that there shouldn't be ever a situation where people go to get entertained and they end up dying at the event that they've gone to go and get entertained by.
Well, yeah,
I mean, the
that goes
days of the
without saying.
gladiators are gone. You know.
So the other thing the thing I heard was missing from this particular concert setup. I have not seen the pictures that you mentioned, David, about the barricades every 40 people or so. Those were left to right barricades. But I heard it's customary to have a barricade down the center of the audience from the stage to the mix, so that the security people can be wandering in that barricaded area and controlling the audience. But I heard that did not exist at this concert. What do you know?
Well, I don't know about the barricade. We could do a little research while we're doing this. But that barricade in the middle is very important for a number of reasons. One, people have to get to their seats. Number two, there is security, and so there are defined areas where people can be and where people can't be, and that middle area should have been kept clean. I mean, for any concert you go to, wherever it is, there is that area where, and usually there's 4 or 5 of these aisles going down the front. So,
And not only that, a lot of times at the concerts I've been at or actually work, when they have something like that, they keep the center clean because that's where you run all your cables. So this way, if something happens, front of house can run the stage or vice versa.
Yeah.
Look,
Yep, you're 100% correct.
Look what's running around my house now. Look at this thing. My robot vacuum cleaner.
Oh,
It
very
just
nice.
goes wherever it
Paul,
wants to go.
You're in the 21st century now. Welcome. Good to see
Do
you.
you have a robot lawnmower?
It just sucks everything up. It really likes the little dongles that I drop on the floor. It likes to eat those.
Yeah. I have one of those. I had one of those in my house, and I had just put in this very, very expensive accordion type door, and my vacuum cleaner didn't know that it was not supposed to brush up against this door. And now on the bottom of this curtain door, whatever you would call it, shade that pulls accordion shade, about an inch of black of where the vacuum cleaner went around it. And of course, it will eat your cables up.
Went in the next room. It knew it wasn't welcome here. It is not welcome.
Well, they have invisible walls. They call them invisible walls.
Yeah.
Put them down. But I think the new ones are more sophisticated, where you can actually program.
Oh, now it's back.
Program them to where they go.
It's back to bug me now.
Has anybody bought
Well, very
one of
good.
the Roomba lawnmowers that runs out and just automatically runs through the front yard?
No, I don't. I don't have a yard to do that. It would be zero-scape, so I wouldn't need that. But the one that I was thinking about buying is the one that washes the floors automatically. Instead, I have a cleaning woman, a cleaning service that comes to the house. Anyway, does anybody have anything else they want to say about what happened in Houston before we move on to one of our next important stories? All right, I take it that is. So now we're welcome to daylight savings, everybody. And also, speaking of time and day of places, we'd like to wish everybody a happy Veterans Day tomorrow. If you're a veteran, it's your day. And so good luck, and I hope you stay safe and healthy. Anybody, is anybody closed tomorrow for Veterans Day? Anybody not working on Veterans Day?
Bank.
The bank's closed. Yeah, that's it.
I don't work on any day, Jan. I don't work, period.
Well, there you go. It's good to
I'm
have
waiting
you.
for one of you guys to hire me.
You can keep waiting, Paul.
I'll
Keep waiting.
I'm waiting.
Don't give up. Don't give up on us yet. Don't give us up. So anyway, daylight savings time. So it turns out that more people are getting into accidents from drowsy driving because of daylight savings time. So has anybody been affected by daylight savings time?
It sucks, and I wish they would pass a law to repeal it.
Yes. Well, yeah, there's some states, Arizona doesn't have daylight savings time. And I believe there's some other states, too, that doesn't have daylight savings time.
Indiana.
What's really weird is that the Navajo Nation does have daylight saving time in the middle of Arizona. I have no idea why. Plus, one of them, I think, is a half an hour, not even an hour. So,
Isn't that strange? A half hour? That, I would think that's because it's on federal land, that, it's a federal thing, because that's how they passed it, during the war.
Yeah, but there's
of World
not.
War II, so they have
they're
no
an
gun.
independent nation. They have their own land. It's not federal land.
Very interesting. Well, it's affecting me. It basically, because in Thailand, where I am, there is no such thing as daylight savings time. So basically now I'm an hour later, so I was able to sleep 1 extra hour, so which was great.
So
I didn't get not even a any sleep last night. I was up all night long, but it wasn't daylight savings. I got my knees injected with cortisone, man, and that kept me awake. Man, I could not go to sleep. And I was running all over the house, arranging my equipment, setting up monitors and the mixer boards and all this stuff. I got a complete rearranged office now because of these cortisone injections. Just turned me into an overnight energizer bunny.
Well, that's very good, Paul. I'm happy. Do you have any problem falling out of bed at night?
No, never.
Oh, good. All right. Well,
I have a very high bed too, Jan.
Well, that's very good. Well, if you ever find that you're having trouble, and you're falling out of bed, take a Viagra. That will keep you from falling out of bed. All right, just so an FYI.
What's the deal? You think if I took Viagra, I'd be off the wall?
No, you wouldn't fall out of bed. That's what would happen. You wouldn't
can't
be able to
roll.
roll over and fall out of bed.
There's other uses for Viagra too.
Well, another interesting story is Forbes is reporting that a company, and I don't know if you guys know of this company because I really didn't hear about them, or if I do know about them, I don't know about them. It's called Irwin Naturals. They're a publicly traded herbal supplement giant, and they're entering the THC psychedelics industry and seeking to become the first household brand to do so. Has anybody familiar with Irwin?
No.
Nope, me neither. Anyway, but I bring that up because at concerts now, if it's legal, more and more people will be getting high at concerts, and that could affect us as well. And, maybe if more people were more mellow, then they wouldn't rush the stage. That's all I could say. So how are we affected right now? Somebody want to say anything about that?
Well, it's still a federal law. They try to get the federal government to finally get rid of the law.
Yeah.
Take cannabis and put it on whatever that schedule is. Get it off that schedule and make it, not illegal.
Yeah.
I mean,
The other thing that just happened is at the Mayo Clinic, they now have a game-changing blood test that detects over 50 types of cancer. And that is pretty amazing. It's a company called Grail, and they believe they can identify cancer through DNA signatures in blood by tracking the DNA shed by cancer cells. And that will be a game changer in saving lives. Because so many people, when they find out they've got cancer, by the time they find out, they're already in stage 3 or 4 if they're not feeling any pain or they're not aware. I wouldn't know for sure about other people. I know that when I had a form of melanoma, I knew right away that there was something wrong, and I went to the dermatologist to take care of it. But there is a situation where people may be not aware, or has anybody had any experience where all of a sudden they were just notified, wow, you've got cancer? No? Anybody know of any stories like that? Nope, I guess not. Either that or my hearing is my hearing going? So how are we being affected by inflation? Is anybody here finding that they're being affected by inflation? It seems that the U.S. reached a 30-year high in October as consumer prices jumped 6.2% by the Labor Department announced that.
Well, it's going to affect my Social Security. They're raising Social Security by a lot for everybody.
6%.
Yeah, and that's a good thing.
Good thing for me.
But the problem is that I had raw materials that had gone up anywhere from 10 to 20, 25%. Allen Heath had a price increase in September that was like 15 to 18%, depending on what pieces it was. We just had a Shure price increase November 1st. We got SSL price increase December 1st. Digico has a price increase coming January 1st. DMB has price increase January 1st. A lot of them are coming up. And, price of plywood, I used to pay last year I was paying like $47 a sheet for 3/4 inch birch. It's now over $100 a sheet. So things are running up pretty fast, and I'm trying to grab things before the price goes up so I can hold them and make through next year without having to hit return on investment pretty quickly against the buy.
Yeah. JBL has had a price increase of 11%. They just sent out the letter today. The Harman, all of the Harman stuff, Martin, JBL, they're going up. They originally were going up only 5%. Now they're raising it another 6%. So January 1st, I believe everything's going up 11%. I mean, that's a big price increase.
Yeah.
Look at car prices have gone up pretty substantially too. You know, they're anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000, and the average car price has gone up this year.
So the question is as they slowly but surely get this supply chain thing straightened out, are the prices going to start going down again?
Only on oil. If
Well,
they
so-
don't put something else on it.
We saw wood go down a little after the initial spike.
Depends on the wood and what the pressure was, but some other woods, you know, particularly imported woods, are not.
Yeah.
But the real question is are we able to raise our prices with that same amount? Like, come on, who's raised their fee 10%?
Well, I haven't been able to do that on my end. And what I'm finding is that people who are buying used equipment, they're looking for deals. They're just looking for deals. And if they can't find the deal, they're willing to wait. That's what I found with that. On the new equipment, it doesn't seem to bother people. If they need the new equipment, they're buying it. You know, I haven't found anybody say, "Wow, it's it's 10% more. I'm not buying it." I haven't seen that yet at all. People who have a need, they're buying. But it's the same thing with, I would guess, like with gasoline. You know, you need gasoline, you're going to buy gasoline. You know, even if it's $4 a gallon compared to, you know, when I was in Vegas, gasoline was as low as $2.35. I have no idea what gasoline prices right now are in Vegas. But how are the prices affected? I mean, has everybody in their marketplace seen gasoline go up?
Sure.
Yep.
$4 in Vegas.
But it
$3.50 in Wisconsin.
also hurts you on diesel fuel prices and stuff on shows and trying to figure out something that's going to bid. That we're bidding on something now and the event's not going to happen until December. How do you know what the guess it's going to be by then, and how much we've gone up from what it was last year?
Yeah. I mean, I just found out that UPS is also raising their rates an average of 5.9%, and UPS air rates between the United States and Canada are going to go up 5.2%. And of course, you know, basically right now, when we get a shipping quote for somebody, the shipping quote is usually only good for a week. After that, you know, it could go up or down, but most of the time it's been going up. And so, you know, because fuel costs and labor costs are raising. I mean, everybody seems to be raising their rates. I read McDonald's raised their rate. Home Depot raised their rates for employees. Most big corporations right now are automatically raising their rates to attract better people and keep the people that they've got. You know? So, yeah, I mean, we are definitely experiencing something that I have not seen since the early 90s, and that is this inflation business. But will it go down is the question. Is this a temporary thing, or is this going to maintain? I have a feeling that it is going to go down.
What's the reality check on that Social Security increase? Is that for real?
Yeah, it's a cost of living increase, and it's the largest one we've had in like 20 years.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good thing if you're older. Hey, Craig's in the room. Hi, Craig. How you doing? What's going on? Now, Craig, did you or did you not? Did you embellish your career? I guess that's a good word for it. What is it you're doing these days? Because it seems exciting.
Funny way to put it. Funny way to put it. So I joined Clear One about 15, 16 months ago. And about 2 weeks ago, they appointed me Southern Nevada and Hawaii. So I just got here. I'm on the north side. We're going to be at Vision Controls tomorrow with our trailer, the Clear One demo trailer. So I'm just banging on doors, and it's actually good. I'm touching people in the right way. I'm touching people again, and I'm actually enjoying myself. So it's good. Different, but good.
You have to be careful of that sexual harassment stuff when you're touching people. I
Like
find,
I said,
and
in a good
especially
way.
if you got a jealous girlfriend, be careful. You put your hand on her shoulder. Hey, that's funny. Ha ha! You touched that girl? You touched her?
Yeah, so I'm on Craig Road right now, and I just got here. I rode my Harley down. So to answer your question, it was about $410 to $415 for premium, all the way down from Salt Lake. Yeah, it's really expensive.
So tell us tell us about your company, because I think people would be very interested to know what you guys do.
So Clear One has been pigeonholed to be a conferencing only company, which is not really the case. That's what I thought they were when I decided to go there. I didn't realize, we have fantastic DSP products, 144 by 96 in and out, heavy based on USB transport to get on and off for Zoom calls, things of that nature, but plenty of sound reinforcement products as well without USB. So one of the most current jobs I just did was a DMV with Clear One product in Florida a couple weeks ago. So heavy on cameras, DSP, beamforming, ceiling microphones is really the probably premier thing that they offer. And it's very good technology, really good stuff.
Well, very good. Well, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank
we
you.
hope that you have a very successful career over there. Hey, and speaking of successful careers, in Las Vegas right now, the Fountain Blue looks like it's finally going to, after years and years and years,
End of
the Fountain Blue
23.
looks like it might be opening.
End of 23.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting. It just seems, and it's going to be a blue building, isn't that correct? They're going to make it just like that. Isn't that going to be blue now? Blue glass?
Well, it's already blue glass, isn't it? Or is that just silver?
No, it's already blue glass.
Okay. Well, there you go. It's blue glass. That's going to be another attraction. Come to Las Vegas to go to the Fountain Blue.
It's a huge building. It's one of the biggest buildings as a single building in Vegas. It's really tall and it's really big.
Yeah, just slightly bigger than Gene Simmons' house, by the way, which happens to be up for sale for $15 million. Just thought I'd throw that in case anybody is looking for a mansion. Gene Simmons is selling his house in Vegas for $15 million, and he's canceled all his Planet Hollywood shows. So, and they refunded all the money. I don't know. Maybe he was serious that was his last tour. During the last tour he went on. So,
Actually, Jan,
anyway,
somebody accidentally corrupted their click track, so they have to reprogram. They're going to have to come back and do it later.
Oh wow!
I'm kidding.
He's moving to Lake Tahoe. He bought a home in Lake Tahoe, so he's really getting off the beaten path.
Mm-hmm.
Did he sell the house in Hollywood?
Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills, he sold that?
It's on. That's the one that Janice says is on the market. So where he did the TV.
No, that's the one in Las Vegas. Las
They
Vegas.
said Las Vegas.
Oh, well, he's selling the one in Beverly Hills too, the one that was on the TV show, or he's already sold it.
Wow, he must be making some major life changes then. I would say. Good luck, Gene Simmons. Nice guy. I've met him, and somebody told me that he says the same thing to everybody, so they all think he likes them, but he's got like a standard line or something like that. Oh, by the way, I was on Vince Edwards' show, Beyond the Backstage Pass, and it turns out we got a lot of comments, and it really worked out really well for me. I really enjoyed being interviewed by those guys. So if you get a chance and you want to listen to it.
Put up the link. I'd like to see it.
Tina, you're going to have to do that for us.
Coming right up.
Tina will throw it in. All right, Tina will do that. So anyway, one of the things, let's see, what else? Is anybody in cryptocurrency now? Because I'm seeing that more and more now, cryptocurrency is becoming more and more prevalent in the news. And just recently, a Coinbase user lost $11.6 million in under 10 minutes after falling for a fake notification scam. And a federal judge this month approved the warrant to claw back over $600,000 in Bitcoin. So I thought that cryptocurrency was not traceable, but obviously it can be traced if the government can claw it back. Anybody know anything about that in the room, about cryptocurrency? And do you think that we're ever going to accept cryptocurrency as form of payment for our services and our goods?
There's a guy who just won an election, or he's running for like a senator in New Jersey or something, and he says he wants to be paid in cryptocurrency for his expenses. So
Wow.
that's a start.
I bought a
Yeah.
bunch of Dogecoin.
Yeah, how they do it.
And well, the
Sorry, I
Dogecoin in the
gotta go.
beginning.
Good seeing you
All right,
guys.
bye, Ken.
Take it easy.
See you, Ken.
Take care.
The
Ken.
the Dogecoin in the beginning, it started out like 0.000, and then at one point it went up to like $70 just before Mark Cuban was going on Saturday Night Live.
No,
and
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
I thought it was Mark Cuban, or
Nope.
it was Elon Musk going on the show, but Mark Cuban made a bet of it being $1 million or something like that.
Yes, it was
Anyway.
Elon Musk.
Anyway, so my friends, I was watching it, and I was in Florida, and they were telling me about it when it was really low, and I'm watching them make a fortune. I'm literally they're watching their phone, their Coinbase, and it's going up and up and up and up, and everybody's talking about it, and I couldn't buy it because it was illegal to buy Dogecoin in Las Vegas, in Nevada. So I lost out on that, but now I hear it's back down. So
It's a 24
If they didn't
cents.
sell. Yeah, if they didn't sell, maybe it went up to 70 cents. That's what it was. It went up to 70 cents. But because they had so many shares, because it was so cheap, that they did that. Anyway, let's see, what else? We were talking about cars and trucks and stuff like that. Philadelphia is becoming the first city to ban police from stopping drivers for low traffic level violations. It's called the Driving Equality Bill. It was passed 14-2 by the city council. And so basically, you won't get pulled over for little, infractions. And that's where most of the people make their money. I mean, most municipalities, they have these speed traps and all that other stuff, just to try to, it's just a money-making scam by our municipalities, which I hate, And speaking of which, do they still mark tires in Los Angeles? David?
Why not? I mean, I don't know. I mean, when you're in a 2-hour limit, do they come by and mark your tires? I would think so, but I don't know.
They found that to be illegal in some states, that it was a violation of privacy. And to top it all off, if you Google it, and there was a car parked in the same spot in Italy for something like 40-something years, and now it's a national monument.
I read that and I saw that.
That's great.
That was interesting.
So it's another thing that I noticed, another thing that I read, which I thought was really cool, is that the northern lights can be visible now in the United States due to a geomagnetic storm. The lights can be visible from Portland, New York City, Oklahoma City, Raleigh. I've always wanted to see the aurora borealis. Has anybody seen that in real life?
Nope. Have not.
Ken?
I was on a cruise in the Baltic Sea a few years ago and I saw him one night.
How spectacular is it? Or is it overamped?
Pretty good. I was also in Sweden and saw it too at one point. It's pretty cool when you think about that shouldn't be there normally where we live. It's just all of a sudden it's there.
Yeah. It's like the real deal light show, It's like something that if you could actually have a concert with that kind of lighting, I think people would be pretty impressed.
It
You
reminded
know?
me more of the Pink Floyd laser show in the planetariums.
Funny. That's funny. Anyway, so I hope everybody's gotten their booster shot. I just read in an article that unvaccinated people are 6 times more likely to contract COVID than vaccinated people, which is a good thing. And let's see, a study of more than 780,000 patients served by the Veteran Hospital Thursday found that basically the vaccination is the efficiency of the vaccination drops from 87 to 48% if you don't get the booster. So I hope you guys go out and get the booster. I'm having a little more difficulty getting the booster here in where I am because I'm an American in Thailand, and they're basically just vaccinating their citizens for the first. But I got the Moderna. I'm pretty safe here. The count is super low with COVID, so I'm good. It's good here, and it's still a 20,000 baht fine if you get caught in public without a mask. So yeah, they've got a pretty good handle on it. Now everything's opening up. The world is opening up now. Anybody have any trips planned?
Yeah, I got a job in San Diego coming up Friday for a week. So that's my trip.
Hey, David, did Craig call you about that job in LA last week?
No. Oh yeah. I didn't get he didn't call me. He texted me, and I didn't get it until like late that night, and he needed somebody for that night. Kind of short notice, but yeah, thanks a lot. I forgot about that because it never happened.
I didn't know if you could help him or not. It was last minute, like you said.
Yeah. By the time I read it, it was already over. I mean, it was too late. So I assume.
Well, there you go. Well, there you go. So we not only do we bring you the latest news and how it affects us, but we also have a job board going on as well, and all sorts of opportunities. So,
oh yeah.
Anyway, I'm kind of out of news. I got a bunch of other things that we could talk about, but the reality is that that was all the news that I saw. I'm moving. Here's another bit. I just moved. I'm moving more since I've been in Thailand and places to live than I've ever moved in my whole entire life. I've never moved this quick in so many different places, but I have an opportunity to move into a house that is just spectacular. And so I'm moving. As a matter of fact, when we go off the air, we're going to move over to our new house. And it's got a cat.
What about your new cat?
Yeah, I'm going to have a new outdoor cat that I'm responsible for. It's not going to ever be my cat. It's a free spirit. That's all I can say. And I'm going to keep it that way, you know?
What's
Does the house come with a
place,
girlfriend?
what's the new place like, Jan? What's it like?
Well, the new place is like a house. It's a standalone house. It's got 2 bedrooms, and it's designed in a way that it's got 2 living rooms, which is crazy. It's got 2 living rooms in the house, and a dining room, and a kitchen. So, and it's got a pool area and an outside area, and it's got a wall around the house so that people can't see what's going on. The wall outside the house, I guess, is probably 10 feet tall, so I won't be able to scale over it. And it's got a barbecue, and it's the guy that I'm renting the house from lived in America for a while, but he's from England, and he also lived in Singapore. And so he has all the modern convenience known to man in this house. Everything is Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all state-of-the-art. He's got a water filtration system in the house, which is really hard to find here. I've never seen it. And he has a solar company where he does solar shading, and the house is insulated. He's using a special paint, so my utility bills will be low. And and I'll have a real office instead of working out of my living room right now, which I am. In the back, you can see that I'm, in my living room. The only thing I'll be giving up is a view, but instead of the view, I'll have a cat. So there you have it.
Does it come with a girlfriend?
The girlfriend I'm bringing with me. It's the truth be told, is I came here. Is she in the background? Is she walking around? No. The truth be told is I came here looking for a situation that would make me happy. Living in Las Vegas as a single guy, being 70 years old, is a little more difficult than I would like to have thought in finding a mate. But here in Thailand, I was very fortunate. I met someone on Tinder over a month ago, and from the moment we met, we've basically been inseparable. It's, thanks to COVID, her job was put on hold. The company that she worked for was put on hold due to COVID. And so we've spent a lot of quality time together. And that's one of the reasons we're moving, because right now she's in the other room. She could hear every word I'm saying. And she's waking up at 5:30 in the morning with me to do this. So anyway, it's great. I'm happy.
Good for you.
I'm happy. Things are good. And everything is, the business is not as busy as it used to be for me, but then again, I really want to convert SoundBroker into a co-op rather than what we've been doing, so that people can just come in and have basically a forum to meet with other people of like mind, so that they could buy and sell with each other without having to pay a commission. And that's something that I have to thank Social Security for, because until that point in time, I really couldn't have afforded to take this kind of risk, because we're not working on a commission, we're working on a yearly fee. So that's something that I've been building, and it's been pretty successful, but not as successful as I need it to be, so that I could just pull the plug and say, hey, I'm out of the middle. We're just going to provide a safe playground for everybody to play with each other, so. But that's coming. It's coming. It's absolutely coming. That is my legacy. SoundBroker is my legacy. I don't have any children. So the only thing I've got to leave behind is SoundBroker, and that's what I want to do. So
Yeah, and you can still have children.
I can. Are you up for adoption, Paul?
Yeah, you can adopt me and fly me over and set me up there, Jan. I'll be your son.
Yeah, you and your friend Mike Holpe. You and your
Mike
friend
Hope
Mike.
and Robert Dolgen. Don't forget about old Robbie there with his villas.
Hey,
Anyway,
Jan,
so let's just open the room. Who wants to talk about something?
I got another question, Jan. Speaking of stage stuff, I was told the other day, that Army auction, that all the stage line stuff was co-owned by Stage Line, and that they don't sell systems, but they sell parts, partnerships to the system. Is that correct?
Okay, on the SAN system, the SAN, which is the bigger ones, the SAN 550, which is the one that's up for sale there. Yes, they don't sell that. They basically lease it out with a partnership, because they just don't want to sell it. But the SL series, the SL 100, or starting 50, 75, 100, 250, 260, 320s, those are all for sale. So, and it looks like, when I looked at the pictures, it looks like it's from the U.S. Army. So it would seem to me
Army Entertainment bought it, and they're dismantling everything in Army Entertainment right now.
Yeah, so I would assume that the Army would not be in partnership with Stage Line, but I didn't speak to Stage Line about it. But auctions are strange in that respect, because when you buy something in an auction, you really don't know what you're getting. Because, for example, I get people calling me all the time that they bought profiles online, and they find there was no DSP engines in it, or there was no umbilical cord, or they were missing cards. So you just don't know what you're getting in an auction. And then there's the other thing that you have to be very careful about in an auction, which they have a name for, called auction fever. And auction fever has to do where you get emotionally invested in an item that you must have. So now you're paying more for it used than it would be new. Plus, you don't realize, or you don't figure into the configuration of the purchase, that there's also a buyer's commission that you have to pay in an auction. Plus, if you're taking it at a location, then you have to pay the sales tax. Because if let's just say, for example, you live in Nashville, and you go into an auction that is, let's say, in Kentucky or New York or Florida, then you're paying the sales tax as well. And people don't think about that. So an auction could get quite expensive on an item and you don't even know what you're getting. You're getting basically a pig in a poke, is what they say. So there you have it.
Both of those stages have not been used very much in the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. And so, as we all know, because stages have hydraulics, the hydraulics lines can dry up. And of course, it's a vehicle. It has a brake system. It has suspension. All of these things, due to elements, can definitely be affected. And you don't know if there's any rot in the roof, because the way Stage Line designs their roofs is they put a plexiglass coating over the steel structure or the aluminum structure. So you don't know if there's anything wrong with that until you open it up, and who knows what they have the ability to do. So plus, there's one more factor that you have to know with the stage. If you buy a stage, you have to have it certified by Stage Line with the state that you're in, or general blanket coverage from Stage Line. So you have to go through Stage Line to make sure that you have the correct inspection certs so that you can register it in the state and use it in the state, especially if you're using it in a state like California, where they are really sticklers for these engineering stamps. So I would not recommend buying a stage at an auction, unless, of course, you were the manufacturer. And I'm sure if they're up there, Stage Line would be one of those things that would be discouraging people from bidding against them, because you're bidding against the guy that has to give you your certification to be able to use it. So that's my 2 bits on that.
Jan, I looked at buying a house where they're moving this great big 700-acre sound stage, entertainment complex, amusement park, residential, shopping area right near me here in Bastrop. I looked at a house, and the house had a 30 by 60 metal building on it that I could convert to a studio. So I'm looking at buying that house. I don't know. What do you think?
Well,
good
there you have
idea?
it.
Not a good idea.
I would say to you like this: a fool and his money will soon be parted. And and I don't mean that to be derogatory. I mean that in a standpoint. Whereas what I find is people get a great deal. They think it's a great deal. Wow, I bought all this decking. What a great deal! And then they find out that they don't have any connectors, and they don't have the correct pins, and they forgot to look at the back side of the plywood, and it's all rotted on one side because they just don't know enough about it. Or they'll buy a console. No matter what it would be it be an Avid, a Digico, whatever, without having inspected it and not knowing anything because it was so cheap, and then they find out that it's worthless. Somebody would buy, let's just say, a Heritage 3000. Wow, I got it for $200-300. Well, you got what you paid for. $200-300. Nobody's buying Heritage 3000s these days.
Yeah, the guy
or a Yamaha.
The guy who built this was a mechanic. So he had him pour the slab 2 feet deeper than he normally would to support all these trucks that go in and out. And it comes with a lift, one of these car lifts. And it's a huge warehouse. I thought if I bought that house and I had that warehouse, I could set up, buy and sell equipment to this entertainment complex that's moving right. I'd be surrounded by the entertainment complex because it's right in the middle.
Well, Paul, I have a great idea for you. SoundBroker is for sale right now. So just see me afterward, and I'll make you a deal you can't refuse. There you
All
have
right,
it.
SoundBroker for sale.
And Paul, you can get his house too.
Yeah.
I don't want to move to Vegas, so this is right down the road from me here.
Yeah. No, I will tell you that if
out.
if you don't know what you're doing, you're best not doing it, because as I think it's to quote P.T. Barnum, basically, well, I forgot the quote, but anybody remember what P.T. Barnum said about being cheated? Wow, all of a sudden, I was thinking of W.C. Fields, how I live my life. You can't cheat an honest man, never give a sucker an even break, or smarten up a chump. But those are the way I live my life.
My wife wants another house. We need another house, so we're looking around for houses.
Yeah. But you have to know what you're doing, otherwise you will not be successful in it. And that's just you just do your research. But the thing is this: if you don't have the expertise in an area, it's best to pass, because a great deal, a deal is something you always look for, but you never seem to find. And so I would highly recommend that unless you know what you're doing, don't do it. Don't buy something without doing all your due diligence.
I've never known what I'm doing. I've never known anything. But sometimes it works out, even though you don't know what you're doing, if you have perseverance,
But Paul, based on what I know of you and just watching, what's going on just around you and behind, I think you need a bigger building just to store your own personal effects. So that's where it's at. Get it out of your wife.
I'm building shelves all around the top part of my ceiling, so I can get rid of all the boxes that are on the floor. So that's amazing. The next project, shelves. All
right. So let's just move on before we say goodbye to the people on Facebook and YouTube. And is there anybody else that wants to share anything to the general public before we take us off the air and we just talk about what we want to talk about in private? And by the way, guys out there on Facebook and YouTube, the private conversations are really off the hook, and I highly recommend you come and join us, because this is a really interesting group of people with a lot of different opinions, and we're quite smart, I have to say. You guys are really interesting, and I really appreciate you joining me every week. It's really a 77th meeting. Unbelievable, 77 meetings. It's spectacular when you think about that. We've done anything for that long with communication system like what we've done with Zoom. So I really appreciate that. Anybody have anything else they want to say?
Jan, did you happen to see that Oprah show where she sat down with Prince Harry? It was like a Zoom meeting, but they made it look, they were both sitting in chairs, and they made it look like they were in the same room together having a conversation. I'd love to learn that technique. Do you know what technique they use to do that?
I think Josh Zimmerman would be the one to answer that question.
Nope, don't know any technique like that.
Man, it was impressive. It was so real. It was like they were sitting in the same room. They were totally different places, but it looked like they were sitting having a chat together in the same room.
Paul, let me tell you about a show that's also on Zoom. It's called Office Hours. You might not have heard of it. Alex Lindsay's Office Hours.
Yeah, those guys.
I'm sure you could. 5
seconds.
I'm sure you can. Even you can. I'm sure you could ask that question and it would be answered in 5 seconds. That's correct. So if anybody has,
sometimes they don't have the right answers though. That you have to. Sometimes you have to ask the same question 2 or 3 times till you get the right answer.
Well, actually, Paul, the interesting thing about that is that I brought that up in one of their after-hour meetings, and I was shut down once again. And hey, we don't want to talk about that. Yeah, because basically that's what
shut down in after hours. That is.
Yeah, but that's what I say about this show as well. Is like you got to do your own research. They might give you, they'll put you down a path, but you need to make sure that you've got your own research down to make sure that you're getting the right information. Because one of the problems about people in general, and tell me if you think I'm going astray, some people will just tell you what they want to tell you without doing the research. A good example is you go into a store and you say, do you have this? And the salesperson says, no, we don't have that. And then you walk down the next aisle and there you see it, as you're looking for something else. So sometimes it's a lot easier for people to say, nah, we don't have it, rather than for them to do all of the research for you and give you the correct answer. And I've had that happen in tech support online. And I mean, has anybody else had that experience, or am I unique in that?
No, you're not unique. That's for sure. I've been seeing that too, Jan. Hey, Paul, there is one you can take a look at that's pretty cool. It's Dante over distance, and there's a part 1 and part 2. You can find it on Audinate. And they are using that technology. They're sending Dante over distance, and they have privileged networks so that they can get good audio. They can control the latency to a certain point, and then they can send video and then get the latency online. So by sending projector image with the background and blending the background together, you can create some pretty cool things like what you're describing. I didn't see the one you're describing, but I seen a different one like that. So check out Dante over distance from Audinate.
Yeah, I'm on there. I'm on it right now. I'm on their webpage. Thank you.
Also, Paul, you might want to watch any movie, because they do that a lot in the movies. Where they can do whatever they want in the movies. All right. Anybody else have anything they want to say?
Man. We could do it
Yeah,
here.
we're doing it right now. It seems like you're just right here. I mean, I think I've got you right here in my hand. That's it. So, does anybody have anything else they want to say? You know what, Paul? I just realized you could use Wirecast or one of those softwares to actually put people side by side, with two inputs. So any mixer, not just a digital mixer, but you could probably do it with actually a TriCaster. Or, I mean, if you look at Leo Laporte's show, it looks like they're all sitting next to each other.
Yeah, he's got people on TV screens.
Yep. So
Surrounded
once
by-
again, I will ask if anybody has anything else they want to say. David is probably on the phone because he's pointing his finger and he's not saying anything. So that's about it for us today.
So I saw the picture on Astroworld that I was talking about, and it looks like they actually, and I don't know how to put it in chat. I was trying to figure out how to do that.
You can share your screen, David.
I could share the screen, but what it shows is, and I'll do that. It shows that there was an aisle created for the crowd. Here, let me open this up and go to screen share.
Yeah, they had a golf cart running through the crowd. They had to make an aisle for that golf cart to get there.
There. So you see, between front of house and stage, there's an aisle, and then there's an aisle going across. So what happened? Did those barriers get knocked down?
No, I just think that some people couldn't get to those aisles. They were crushed because they were in the front and the crowd was pushing forward. They were all surging toward the stage.
Yeah, but look how many people. I mean, there were a lot of people in that section, but it wasn't the entire crowd. It was far from the entire crowd.
Yeah.
It was maybe 25 people deep. And that apparently was enough.
Apparently, when one person falls, it creates a chain reaction for that. And then somebody trips over that person pretty soon. Before you know it, you got a bunch of dead people.
Yeah, but they were talking about standing up and not being able to breathe because they were being squeezed so tight. So anyway, that's the picture I was trying to show you guys.
Very cool. I didn't realize first of all, I didn't realize it was an outdoor show, but as I look at the production value, it looks like they've got it looks like the speaker system is a delay system that's hung over the middle of the arena like that.
Yeah,
Ken, could you tell us anything about that? Ken Porter?
That actually would look that is a delay tower. The more I look at it, that is a delay tower. Must have expected
but why so close?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Why would it be so close?
It's a camera tower, probably, but why it is what looks like?
If there are some towers that you can do. I just saw a video on I think it was YouTube, where there's you can have a delay tower that's also doubles as a camera tower as well. So that might be the other reason too.
It just seems.
But if you look at behind front of house there, they had a TV screen, so they must be doing this wherever they were doing it. Must have been a huge venue to have all that stuff there.
50,000 people. It's pretty big.
Yeah, it looks like it's hung from the air. So I don't know how they did that, but they have cables running, so who knows?
Skyhooks.
Anyway, skyhooks. That's right, skyhooks. Or they have a blimp hanging over the Goodyear blimp is flying their delay system. Anyway, with that in mind, I just want to say thank you for everybody for coming today and participating. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, 4 o'clock Las Vegas time, unless, of course, we have a change of plans, but I don't think we will. I'm thinking, wouldn't it be better if we did an early morning meeting rather than a late at night meeting? But what the hell? We'll keep it just the way it is for right now, unless you guys start telling me you want to do it earlier. With that in mind, thank you, everybody. Remember, you make it happen. Stay safe and healthy. Everything you heard is an opinion today, so do your own research. And with that, we'll say goodbye to our friends on YouTube and Facebook, and we will shut off the recording. Remember, stay safe, stay healthy.